All right, this video, yes, same sweater, same night. I'm like 8 videos in right now. So I wanted to go over the difference that I feel between going from a very fast, I know nowadays 1,000 horsepower is fast. I don't make 1,000 horsepower. I make like 650. 650, that's until one of you hoes donate me a nitrous kit or my Dominator, and I'll buy the nitrous kit. So I feel that I need both of those at the same time. But so back with my Holly EFI, E85, Vortec built motor car, and I had a TKO 500 with the really low first gear, decent suspension. I'm on the Poverty Stars, the SV drag wheels from LMR with the Mickey Thompsons. I have lower control arms, drag springs, and honestly factory gears, because the TKO we found when I switched my TKO, I went from a T45 naturally aspirated car, then I supercharged it and put a TKO behind it because I instantly crunched the T45. They're not rated as supercharged cars. I know people, oh, mine lasted X amount of miles. Yeah, well, when you start hooking, things start smashing, okay? So I went from TKO 500 to now I have the Lord's transmission, the TH400. And the only thing I did in here was I still have the old dangly dude here, because I know you're gonna not believe this, but some people are lazy and they don't want to look up the rest of the wiring harness in order to get rid of the clutch pedal to start the car. So I got the switch initially to do it, but it don't work. So F it. I'll just push in the clutch. Just remind me of my good old days. So I have the TH400. That was this, the TCI Outlaw shifter. I have made a pedestal. Oh, damn. Made a pedestal. It's an actual cutout, steel, 1/8" steel, same as this. I made an 1/8" steel cutout. I welded a bigger tube onto the pedestal, bolted it down inside the car. Then I put a smaller tube on the bottom of this plate with a bolt in it, and a bolt in the bigger one, so that this actually adjusts. It can't right now because I have a bolt locking it together right here, but I made this so that I didn't have to run this again, because a lot of people do this. They bolt it down here, they take this out, they cut it up. And obviously my car, when I bought it, 40,000 miles, I mean, the seats still are squishy. Like, it's a nice car, so I didn't want to do this, but after a case of twisted teas, I tried it. But I mean, can't diss it till you try it. So now that I have the shifter, it goes right through there. It circles really nice down the engine tunnel and then back towards the TH400. I'm just going to tell you guys, if you're putting a TH400 in your car or thinking about putting a TH400 in your car, I am 100% with the taking the cradle down, because the bell housing is about yay big and it does not fit in one piece up in there with the torque converter and stuff on it. Does not. I had to take, how did I do it? I took the torque converter off. I took all of the bolts out of the adapter bell housing, put the bell housing up in the tunnel, put the torque converter in it, took the transmission jack, slid the transmission up into the tunnel, and then put it together in the car, because the headers on this, they're long tube headers, they're max. You could not physically, even with taking them off, like I did everything I could, took all the bolts out, took everything out, I could not, without taking the cradle down. And the place I was, the tools I had, I couldn't take the cradle down. So after, I literally made a bunch of videos hating myself. So I put it all together and got it in the car. Everything works really good. I have the cooler, which I'm just pointing because there's the transmission, you know, the bell housings here, right here, the shaft here, you know, the drive shaft goes here. you know where it is. So there's two lines, an in and an out line for the trans-cooler. I run them out here, all the way here. I bought that off of Motion Raceworks. I'm gonna put them in every video until I can get one of them fancy stickers on the side of the car. Look how clean it is. I left it just for Motion Raceworks. But I bought that off of Motion Raceworks. I bought the all the hose and stuff off of Motion Raceworks. I bought this is actually the relay from MSD, which is Holly. I run it to run my trans fan. My trans fan. How did I turn it on? Oh, so Motion Raceworks sells the trans cooler with the fan on it with a temperature sensor. When it senses the temperature gets so hot, it kicks the fan on, and the fluid's always pumping, obviously, but it kicks the fan on, cools. I have noticed that it comes on while going down the road. After the car sits a couple of minutes, it kicks off. It seems to be working just fine. I don't have a problem with it. But the only other issue that I see leads me to why all of this is sitting here. Back when this is a radial car and stick shift, when you do a roll, you can do a 5 mile an hour roll. Smack the throttle, the accent slams down, stays down, and just kind of like planes like a boat. It just goes down the road like this and then will plane up and just be a rocket ship. Digging, it'll squat a little bit, spin just 6-7 feet, then bite in and just take off. It was violent. It was so much fun. It was, I mean, you just hope people would fuck with you at a red light and want to race. Well, now that I have the TH400, Daddy hasn't gone fast in a minute. So it just likes to roll out really good. And as soon as you smack the next gear, just annihilates the tires. So what I did was, I noticed that one black mark was a little deeper than the other. I got the anti-roll bar. I got the Team Z, the upper control arm relocation kit to fix the geometry. I got the lower control arms. I got the drag springs. I got the Viking shocks. So I got all the suspension because right now I'm factory suspension. I have drag springs and lower control arms, but I don't know the brand. I bought the car like that. Then, because I have factory gears, factory axles, factory everything, I decided that I was going to go ahead and add these strange engineering C-clip eliminators with 1/2 inch studs, 3-inch 1/2 inch studs. So I have to run the open acorns with ABS, and I already had this rear end. I've got some wicked cleaner in there, so I'm trying not to get it all in my shop while I'm breathing in here. But all you have to do is you cut this flange off flush on the back of on the axle tube. Cut this flange off, and then when you put the axle in, the flange goes right in this, seals up really tight against this rubber grommet right there. Hopefully it doesn't leak. I know a lot of them leak. I mean, hopefully it doesn't keep leaking, but it is what it is. I had this in the car when it was naturally aspirated. Now I'm going with 355 gears and 35 spline axles. Before I had 31 spline and 390 gears. So hopefully I can calm it down a little bit. But other than that, the cons, I guess, of going from manual to an auto on a 600 horsepower car was when you're just ripping gears, like it's so much fun to just rip another gear and then just keep dragging somebody. But there's always like that, I think I could be a little bit faster, or maybe you have a close call and you're like, holy shit, that dude can roast some gears like I can. I think the reason I did it, and the reason I have that in there is, one, that looks sick. No one else has that. You know, it's sick. Not many of your friends are going to have that. And I think overall, with the ability to tune as well as you can with the Holley EFI and all the computer systems that Holley EFI offers, like traction control, nitrous control. I mean, just the overall, your racing program. I feel that on the street with my full suspension, and once I get this dialed in correctly, get everything working, get the spool, I think that overall, as far as a strictly race, not fun factor, like being competitive, your times being as competitive and as consistent as you can, I went with the TH400 because I've always out horsepowered people, but in today's world, you can't out horsepower nobody no more. Dude, I've been over here building this car. I got $30,000 in this car. And then the next guy, he's 22 years old. He rolls up and he's in a car with a bolt-on Whipple kit, 900 horsepower. And you're like, you spent $6,500 and you have like 900 horsepower and I have 600 and I have 30 grand. You can't do that anymore. So as a consistent, as max effort, TH400 automatic transmission is where it's going to be at. But now there'll be people, you guys more than welcome to fight with me in the comments. I fight with the best of them. I'll get me a case of Twisted Tea and we'll just get to drinking them and commenting on the channel. They'd be more than happy with me. Like, dislike it, whatever you want. But I've been driving and my buddy's hardcore stick shift. He's building a big turbo 4-valve car and he's not wanting a manual like at all, an automatic at all. He's fighting me to the end, and I let him drive my car around, and he actually brought it to my house yesterday, and I see he's not frowning when he's getting out of the car at my house. I know he's like, this car's faster. I think it's way faster. I think it's faster overall, but I think that initial wah from just that violent snap, I think is where people lose you at the auto versus manual. They think that because you feel it in your body, it's faster, it's more violent, but on the draggy, this thing's quick. If I can get the actual launch as hard as I did with the manual, if I can get the launch and then the top end of this, I think TH400 is the best route to go, especially with my Century blower. I don't really have a choice. I can't change boost. I can't control it. Like in a stick shift car with a turbo, you can do boost by gear. You can do whatever you want with a Holley. Because I went Vortec, I make the higher the RPMs, the more boost I make. So I don't really get a choice of turning down the boost at launch or prolonging it, sitting on a wastegate, anything like that. I'm just like, whatever you hoes want to do. 60 rolls nowadays. 60 roll. I'm probably going to be at the beginning of second gear, which sucks, and I have no choice. But if I don't hook it, it's over. The race is over. We're in the manual. You have more control. But I mean, I'm obviously making this car. I mean, it's got skinnies on it, drag pack, poverty stars. I'm making a max effort dig outrun cars that I shouldn't be racing because they make double my horsepower. But you know, if them hoes don't hook, it's all worth it. So if you guys have any questions, anything else I did to the car, anything like you can't get it to work, I know a lot of people, there's this wire right here that when you go from manual to auto and you don't switch the whole harness, you have to jump these two wires, the green with red and the white with red. You have to jump them together or your car won't start because the neutral safety switch, I guess it is. If you have any questions along those lines, I'd be more than happy to help you guys. If you're in the Nashville area, I'm more happy to help you guys in person with stuff. We work on Mustangs almost every night. My buddy has a full-blown shop. We have every tool. I mean, we build these cars. Mine just winter upgrades. I just got to clean this stuff up, but I'll be more than happy to help. Just let me know. Please like, comment, subscribe, dislike, fight with me in the comments. Man, I'm down to party. I've got like 3 videos put up, so ain't got nothing to lose.